Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners meeting for this Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. It's 2:04 p.m. My name is Ty Mentor, Chair of the Board. We have Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards and Commissioner Carolina Mejia. We have Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell with us today and Clerk of the Board Amy Davis. The meeting is a hybrid meeting and we have various folks participating through Zoom. Calling this meeting to order, and we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Mejia.
Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the indigenous Salish peoples who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing. With that, I'd ask if there's a motion regarding the proposed agenda for the November 9th meeting today.
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the Tuesday, November 9th, 2021 agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer.
Aye. Motion carries and the agenda is approved. Is there a motion regarding the November 2nd board meeting minutes?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the board meeting minutes from November 2nd, 2021.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer.
Aye. The motion carries. Okay, we have two presentations this afternoon. The first one is from Public Health and Social Services, a proclamation for Veterans Day. Mark Moffitt, Community Program Manager with Public Health and Social Services, is here to give a little bit of I think, background on this item, and then we'll have a proclamation.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Mark Moffitt from Public Health and Social Services. Thank you for allowing me to address the board and the public for our annual Veterans Day proclamation. I realize that there are many veterans on the call and in person that may want to speak, so I'll keep my comments brief. I would love to have any veterans that are there in person or on this call to do me a favor. Please raise your hand during my remarks. I want everyone to see who we are. If you're on the call, please just raise the icon hand for asking a question. It's located in the bottom toolbar under reactions. And I'll do mine right now. See if it works. There we are. There it goes. Thank you so much. When I reflect on Veterans Day, I think back to the wars that our sons and daughters were asked to fight. From revolution and tyranny to emancipation and dignity, to stopping the spread of dictators, to supporting the freedoms of others, and to ensuring the security and prosperity of our own nation. Veterans Day is a time to reflect on those that defended our nation and those of our allies. Those that served in wartime as well as peace, those that came before us and those that will inevitably and courageously come after. In Thurston County, we have more than 30,000 veterans, and those veterans are around us every day. Those neighbors, those relatives, those friends. But you know what? We're not just those, we're you. We are part of this growing county, and whether retired or in our first career out of the service, we still want to help improve the community we live in. We joined the military for a million different reasons, but we served under the unity of keeping the United States the land of the free and the home of the brave. And we need to continue supporting veterans so that we ensure that we continue to have veterans. Thank you, Commissioners, for your time today. And to all the veterans that are in attendance, thank you for your service. And please thank your families for their eternal support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Does anybody else want to speak? Be recognized? Be happy to recognize any of the veteran guests.
You know, Hey, Chair, I know you can't see what's going on there because you got such a small screen, but in the back of the room, we've got a veteran that apparently has raised his hand in response to your question, if anybody'd like to speak.
Very good.
So, sir, could you come forward and just approach the microphone, if you will, and just tell us who you are and whereabouts you live in the county? We don't need an address, just kind of get a sense.
Yes, Commissioner. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Patrick Jarrett. I'm a former Marine veteran sergeant. I'm right now living in Tacoma County, Pierce County, but I'll be moving over to Thurston County here soon. I just wanted to say, for me personally, after hearing the proclamation and everything else like that, I just wanted to explain what Veterans Day means to me.
Sure.
Veterans Day for me means freedom, sacrifice, and honor to those who are serving and who aren't serving. And frankly, it's also to give thanks to those, including the family members who have lost loved ones overseas or still here in the States due to uncertain incidents. And frankly, I look at it as we as Americans, if we did not have Veterans Day, then we would just forget those who did serve. And it's up to us to remember those loved ones, those brothers, those sisters, and to keep their spirits alive, including their families. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you for your service.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I think we had another hand I thought I saw go up here. No? Okay. Okay, Chair, that looks like that's all that's going to speak at this point in time.
Perfect. Any of our Zoomers want to unmute?
Yeah, I do believe that we have a few other county employees who were prepared to make comments.
Excellent.
I'm Bruce Rower, Fleet Services Manager and Army veteran. I would just like to say thank you for this local support to Veterans Day. I've always felt very appreciated by the community and chose to remain here in part because of the supportive environment. I enjoyed my time in the military a great deal. My fellow soldiers were a remarkable group of people to work with. I always felt very supported by the nation. Thank you.
Chair, I don't know if you can see what I can see. There's a couple of hands up, and I think that's it. I don't know if they wanted to speak or not. I don't know if Mark,
Meredith
you know?
Mathis? No. Aaron, that was just because Mark had them all raise their hands. We appreciate you guys. Okay, very good. Well, I think we're ready for the proclamation, Commissioner.
Okay, I'll take this as an opportunity to thank all of you veterans. I'm a veteran myself. I got out of the Army more than 50 years ago, so that makes me no spring chicken anymore. But anyway, thank you very much for your service. And I would like to read this proclamation about Veterans Day. Whereas Veterans Day is an annual opportunity to honor the American patriots who answered the call of duty to protect our nation and preserve our freedoms. And whereas throughout our rich history of the United States of America, patriotic men and women have taken up arms and sworn an oath to defend our nation and have established an honorable tradition of dedicated service. And whereas our service members, many of whom have paid the ultimate sacrifice to ensure our country remains the land of the free, have made our country, state, and nation proud. And whereas the patriotism of those in uniform who continue to defend the timeless truths and great freedoms on which our nation was founded will continue to serve an inspiration for generations to come. And whereas we will always honor and support the selfless sacrifices and courage of our military spouses, children, and families. And whereas Thurston County is recognized as one of the most military-friendly counties in the state of Washington, with more than 32,000 veterans calling it home. And whereas long after leaving the uniform behind, Thurston County veterans continue to serve our community as public servants, mentors, teachers, community leaders, parents, and neighbors. And whereas with respect for and in recognition of the contributions our service members have made to the cause of peace and freedom around the world, the United States Congress has provided that November 11th of each year shall be set aside as a legal public holiday to honor our nation's veterans. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaims November 11th, 2021 as Veterans Day in Thurston County and urges all residents to remember the sacrifices of all those who fought so valiantly to preserve our heritage and freedom. And let us promote an enduring peace so that their efforts shall not have been in vain. Adopted this 9th day of November, 2021, your Board of County Commissioners. So, thank you. And that's it for my proclamation, sir.
Okay. Anything else before we go to the next proclamation?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all of our guests for being here for that. The next is a Superior Court proclamation for National Adoption Day. And we have Misty Robeson, Superior Court Administrator. I think will give us a little bit of background on this one, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, Judge, you're going to come up. The
Okay,
chair
great.
can't see you back there, sir, so.
My agenda said Misty, but great to have Judge with us.
Thank you. I just want to recognize Misty Robinson, our new Superior Court Administrator, is here present as well, but I'll be addressing the commission and the public today. So thank you, everyone, for your time today. It's great to see all of the commissioners in person or virtually. We're here, of course, for the proclamation for National Adoption Day, which is next Thursday, November 18th. The courts deal with a lot of difficult issues, but this is easily the happiest day of the year for us as a court. We get to celebrate all families who adopt and put a spotlight on those many children who are still looking for their forever home through adoption or other means of permanency. So next Thursday, we'll have our annual Adoption Day event. It'll start at 3 o'clock. It'll be a remote occurrence again due to the pandemic. And so if you want to participate, we'd urge you, the more the merrier, to log in on Zoom promptly at 3. We have our Zoom login information available on our website if you'd like to participate. I'll be making some remarks as well as some families who have adopted, and First Lady Trudy Inslee will be present as well. And we will be celebrating the adoptions of 3 local families that day for those children who will be finding their forever homes that day. And so I just want to be here to thank you all for your support and your recognition of this very important day. And I really appreciate everyone's time this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge.
Okay. We ready for the proclamation then, Commissioner?
I am if you are, sir.
I am, unless there's another speaker.
A proclamation for National Adoption Day. Whereas all children deserve to be raised in a safe, stable, and loving home, and whereas more than 1,074 children in Washington are legally free and waiting for a family to call theirs forever, and whereas Thurston County recognizes the importance of finding a permanent and caring family for every child in need and supporting the families who care for them. And whereas giving a child a strong foundation, a home, a family to love, and a safe place to grow is one of life's greatest and most generous gifts. And whereas families who choose the life-changing path of adoption make a meaningful and lasting difference in the lives of some of the most vulnerable children and youth, and whereas to help these children find permanent, nurturing families, Thurston County Family and Juvenile Court will open its doors on National Adoption Day. That's Thursday, November 18th, 2021, to finalize the adoptions of local children and join other organizations to celebrate all adoptions. And whereas this effort, along with similar celebrations in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Guam, and Puerto Rico, will offer children the chance to live with stable and loving families and encourage other dedicated individuals to make a powerful difference in the life of a child through adoption. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaims November 18th, 2021 as National Adoption Day in Thurston County and urges all residents to join in a national effort to raise awareness about the importance of adoption. And as I like to say often, that children are 30% of our population, but they're 100% of our future. And if we don't get it right with these kids, we don't have much to look forward to in our society. This is adopted this 9th day of November, 2021. Your Board of County Commissioners. Thank you.
Commissioners, any additional comments before we move forward?
I mean, this has a special place in my heart just from where I used to come from and where I worked for many years. So thank you for this. It definitely is a happy day in the Superior Court family.
I would add also, yeah, I was a former member of the Thurston County Family Law Bar, and family court wasn't always the happiest place for families. So this was really special to be able to work through these cases and then kind of celebrate with some of the families that had been successful. It's just an excellent event. So thank you for Judge Elise for being here and for supporting our proclamation. Okay, great. Moving on, we have opportunity for the public to address the board next, and a few guidelines for that. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes comment from the public at our Tuesday afternoon meetings. We have a few guidelines to be sure that comments are appropriate. When you're called, introduce yourself, including the area of the county in which you reside. Address board, not staff or audience. Silence your cell phones, please. The board does not directly respond to public comment, but the county manager or assistant county manager may follow up on an as-needed basis, either today or at a future board meeting. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes and may not donate any portion of that time to another speaker. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind, comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business, or remarks about pending land use permits that could come before the board in a quasi-judicial format. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records and subject to public release pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 RCW. Last meeting, we had some speakers kind of rolling through the 4 minutes. Obviously, I'm not in the boardroom to see directly the timer. We'd asked the assistant county manager to have folks reminded if they're time over. You can finish your comment or your sentence, paragraph, but please be respectful of the time limit so we can get everybody through. Last week, I think we lost some speakers toward the end. So with that, I'm going to call the folks that are on the sign-up list for boardroom. If you're on the Zoom and you intend to testify, just be patient. There is no sign-in. We will call you and ask you if you wish to testify in the order of the assistant county manager sees you on the screen. First is John Pettit. On deck is Terry Ballard.
So Commissioner Menser, as Mr. Pettit takes the stand, I would just like to note that the memorandum of understanding with the City of Olympia regarding the RV safe parking site has been removed from your agenda for today. And at this time, it is not scheduled for further discussion, although it may come up again at a future date.
Okay, thank you.
Chair,
Yeah.
I would like to respond to the assistant county manager's comments, please. I had something come in after our meeting this morning.
Okay.
Normally, I wouldn't necessarily do this, but you kind of brought the topic to a head, Robin, and that is that, yes, we removed the memorandum of understanding from our agenda today, but unfortunately, what appears to be continuing is that the permitting process that was applied for at the end of the month on October is continuing to move forward for that location, which is 720 Carpenter Road. And the concern brought to my attention by a citizen was that this is going to give an unfair advantage of the government over the citizens that have concerns, because by the time we take this up again, they're going to have that permitting process all done, kind of under the rug, if you will. And I don't know the process that it would take us to do to remove the Carpenter Road site from the memorandum, because if we don't do that, it's going to be a permitted activity, just boom, just like that, when we make a decision to go back, if we continue down that path. So I think that's disingenuous to the public to disregard their concern and allow government to continue its process, including how things would move forward, whether it's appeal or whatever it is. So I don't know an exact solution of that. We did not remove the Carpenter Road location from our memorandum this morning. And I don't think any of us thought of this. So maybe I could hear from my seatmate. Maybe then I'll make a recommendation depending on what my seatmate, or maybe what Robin's got to add. I don't know. And Chair, I just bring this up because it is timely, and it would end up being an unfair advantage, you might say, on the process. So,
With no MOU being adopted, there is nothing to be removed from. The MOU is not moving forward. The permit process, the permit is in process. It's being reviewed at this time. If it in any way references an MOU between the county and the city, that would be an immediate reason to deny the permit. I don't know what's in the permit, and we were given no direction regarding the permit.
that's true, and that's what I'm asking my seatmates now, because that's going to allow that permit process to move forward. So I don't know, do you have anything to add to that, Commissioner?
So yeah, I think I laid out my concerns in the morning in regards to the Carpenter site and how I was in support of the France Anderson site, but was not in support of the Carpenter site. So from what I gathered from conversations, it was going to be set up for a work session for further discussion.
That has not yet been scheduled.
Okay, so that's what I gathered from it.
That's true. I mean, and at the same time, the permit application has been given to our staff across the hall by an organization the last of October, and they're in the middle of taking that through the process, so it'll be done by the time we get around to discussing it. And then the citizens are left out in the cold. They don't get to comment on it. That's my concern.
But if we remove the language from the MOU, then it doesn't matter.
That would, if we remove the language about Carpenter Street, 720 Carpenter, then it takes it off the playing field. Then we can move ahead with the memorandum of understanding with Olympia and work around whatever verbiage that would be.
So we will need to work with the city, though, to come to an agreement. Are you suggesting that that a revised memorandum, which we've not even begun to work on, would be adopted today?
No, I am not. I am very concerned that the permitting process continues to move forward as we're speaking right now. Staff is working on the permitting process for 720 Carpenter Road. And I think that is unfair in lieu of our discussion this morning, in which my seatmate made it clear that I didn't think she wanted that to keep moving. Although we did not remove the verbiage of Carpenter Road from the memorandum. There was one portion in there specifically referring to Carpenter Road, and I don't think we should move forward on that permitting process because we're still in limbo here as to what we might do. So that's why, that's my concern.
If I could suggest, I think we're talking about two separate things. The MOU is not going forward. So removing language from something that's not at this point being adopted doesn't accomplish. I think what you're talking about is the advance of the permitting process. And that's a discussion that did not happen this morning or at any time. And I would suggest that we agree to put that on at the earliest juncture when this board meets at the next time to discuss the ins and outs of that. I don't know if there's any reason for it to go forward at this point or what the timing considerations would be. That's never been discussed, and there's some background that I would need to be able to say one way or the other. But I would agree with you to have this addressed by the board at our next available time and place to do so, if that's acceptable to you.
I have to say, sir, that gives the permitting process and the applicant an unfair advantage because the process is still moving forward across the street, across the hall in CPED. And because of that, and the fact that we did not remove that language this morning in our work session, I believe we should remove that language or give a directive that the permit be denied at this point so it doesn't continue to move forward. It's only fair that we stop the process. We've taken the memorandum of understanding off of the books, off of the agenda for today, but that doesn't mean it isn't continuing right now as we speak, and I don't think that's fair. So I would make a motion, but I know my seatmate has talked about this to community members, and so I don't know.
Nothing can happen without the Board of County Commissioners vote to move it forward, and there is not that vote. But
the permitting process has already started, sir. It's been in place since the end of October.
But we need the MOU, so let's schedule this, in an effort of timing. Let's schedule this for a work session. As soon as we possibly can to discuss this. I'm with agreement with the permit, will not be moving forward without the MOU, and currently there's no support for the Carpenter site MOU. I believe that the City of Olympia has to have discussions about the Franz Anderson site and how that's going to look forward with our relationship moving forward. All
right. Okay. With all due respect, I don't think that stops the permitting process, and that is what I'm worried about. The permitting process is on a time line that moves forward, and we could have a meeting tomorrow. Okay, it gives them one day advantage. We could have a meeting next week. I don't want to leave this up to staff because I believe we're here because of staff. I think that's where we're at. So I want to make it perfectly clear to citizens of Thurston County that I believe it's a mistake to move forward with that permit. And I'm actually going to make a motion that we remove any reference to the Carpenter Road site out of the memorandum of understanding, and then move forward with discussions with the city on maybe the other alternate sites that are yet to be discovered or the long-term site that's being proposed. That's fine. I have no heartburn with that. I just don't want that Carpenter Road site to be all of a sudden approved and it's a done deal. And, we have citizens that are left kind of holding the bag. That's where I'm at.
Here.
I do not see Elizabeth or one of our prosecutors on the Zoom.
I really do.
For me, I want to make sure that whatever decision we're making, I want to make sure that it's got all, the approval from our legal team. For me, considering it was a contract that's not in a contract, but a memorandum of understanding, I want to be careful just because I'm supportive of one part of that. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure that all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and make sure we're doing it. I don't want to be making a show if it's something that, I want to have legal's opinion on this and make sure that we're good to go.
I wish I could have brought this up this morning, but I never thought of this, that we've got citizens that are wondering, how can we just shelf this deal now and the continuation of the application continues? And I don't know, I would make a motion to that we withdraw that application from the process. At least put everything on hold until we can have further discussion on it. It's just an unfair advantage by allowing the applicant to move forward. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to come up with a way to do that. And I might point out, I'm disappointed that we don't have legal in the room, to be honest with you. I believe we ought to have legal at every one of our meetings, but I haven't won that argument yet. But anyway, so I guess if I don't get a second, I don't get a second, and the process continues. But I think that's unfortunate because this is a democratic process. So
I understand where you're coming from, sir, and I see what you're saying. And I think I've laid out my reasoning very clear. But I do want to have an opinion from legal, make sure that whatever we're doing is good to go.
We'll have an opportunity to address this later, maybe in the board meeting yet today. If somebody got a hold of legal and could ask them if there was a problem, I'd leave that up to the county manager.
Commissioner, when you say remove language from the MOU, I don't think that accomplishes what you're trying to accomplish. I think what you're asking is to maybe pause work for the board to direct that community planning pause work on the permit until the board can meet and discuss this, whether it's with legal counsel or among ourselves. There's a lot of questions I have about
yes, sir.
What you're proposing, but I don't feel that I have the information I need. This isn't even on today's agenda.
No, I know it's not, but it is a timely issue, and I agree with you, sir, that as long as we would give direction that CPAD stop the permitting process at this point in time, then I'm satisfied. I just didn't want it to continue.
Okay, well, I don't have a problem with that because we're all in agreement to take this up at the earliest possible moment, whether that's tomorrow or
But can we
Friday
cancel the process now?
Monday.
You're okay
I don't
with
want
that?
to cancel anything because I don't have the information. I just want to pause. I would agree with you to pause work. Staff can just freeze work on what they're doing until the board can take it up at the earliest juncture.
Can that be
Is that
done?
acceptable motion?
I am like at a loss, and that's why I was asking opinion from legal.
I don't know.
Can
I need
we do that?
legal advice. It's a permit process. The applicant is a county entity, but I don't know to the extent that the board can step in and direct your permit center on how to do the permit process on an item that may or may not come to you on appeal. So I would need a legal advice on that. I don't know.
Chair, that's the same dilemma that I'm in. Exactly the same dilemma that I'm in. I don't care how we go about it as long as we go about it in some fair fashion. So we're recognizing the plight of citizens until we get this thing figured out.
Well, there will be no plight of citizens unless the Board of County Commissioners votes to move this forward. And even if the permit, whatever happens to the permit, the board is in control. So I think we don't have the information we need to make a decision. I don't know the ins and outs of the legalities of the permitting, if the board can intervene midstream, or what our parameters of our power in this situation are. Let's just agree at the earliest juncture, and we'd be directing the assistant county manager to find the earliest time that we're all available to address this, and then we'll make the right decision based on the decisions we've already made. That's my suggestion, but you can make a motion. Otherwise, I won't interfere with you to do that. But
I have to say, without more clarity than what we have, I want to make a motion, so it's part of the record, that we withdraw the notation of our memorandum of understanding about the 720 Carpenter Road site, so that there is no misunderstanding amongst staff or the public that we do not endorse that site. That's all I'm asking. Everything else could move forward.
okay. Is there a second to that motion? No, okay. Then let's move forward with our public comment. Mr. Pettit, sorry for the delay. You've got your full 4 minutes to go.
Well, that was exciting. My name's John Pettit. I live in East Olympia. And I've already distributed, or had supposedly you distributed, some of my regular little meeting notes as far as what my comments are going to be about. And one of my comments has to do directly with sometimes the information you receive. I'm going to read a quick little RCW. It's very short. Making a false or misleading statement to a public servant. Person who knowingly makes a false or misleading material statement to a public servant is guilty of a gross misdemeanor. Material statements means a written or oral statement reasonably likely to be relied upon by a public servant in discharge of her official powers and duties. Well, I wanted that on the record because along with my papers, you're going to find a variety of elements relating to the budget. And in regards to those particular papers, you're going to find out that for all practical reasons, there's no reason not to assume that the current estimate of property taxes being overstated by about $2.5 million above what will truly be received, which means that once again, that's going to carry forward and be problems. So you have those documents. I'm going to go to the next one, the permitting process. We have heard from a number of public servants relating to you, the commissioners, that the permitting process was free to move forward, that issues about gopher reviews and such did not apply. Clearly, that is far in question, and I would guarantee you, yes, you would have an appeal of any decision that would try to circumvent a system that the average person or any person other than the county self-monitoring has to follow a process. So I think you've received a lot of bad information about that. With limited time, I'm going to go to the next one on my list. C, fairgrounds. This is an example of how you get given information. You start to make decisions right here around a table. Your assistant county manager told you the other day that the material that was put on the parking lot out at the fairgrounds was clean wash gravel. Well, I went and, okay, I stole a little bit of your clean wash gravel off of the parking lot. This is the material that you have that's been distributed on here. I went to Miles Sand and Gravel, and this is clean wash gravel. I'm going to use a couple seconds of my time and set it so you commissioners can get a closer look at it, and then I'll come right back. There's nothing clean about that particular material. That material right there is not something you'd want to rinse off and then drink water from, is it? In other words, you were intentionally given misinformation to suggest that the activities of what the county was doing out there was acceptable. It's not, period. And I think that you may be taking another direction. You recognize that the county, while they want to interpret their own code differently than what the city of Lacey does, same code, two different interpretations, but the county's the offending individual to the code according to the city, but they're going to interpret it their own way that they don't have to follow that code because that makes them not guilty. That's not right. Okay, another issue real quick is regular meetings. I was committed that you guys were going to have a regular meeting ordinance. You never went forward with it. So far, year to date, you missed 10 regular meetings without any cause, according to the code, and now you have plans to miss an 11th. That's over 20% of the scheduled meetings are regular meetings for the county, and you have decided to miss that, and that goes all upon Commissioner Menzer, because he's the chair, for missing it. And you know, in the private sector, we have an employee that misses 20% of their time of the work they're supposed to do. They're not our employee anymore. So these meetings are about the opportunity for the public to address the people they've elected to represent them. My last little tiny note, kudos to Ms. Mejia for coming out and listening to the people out there at 720 Carpenter Road. Truly appreciate it. That was an indication of how commissioners are supposed to be. I just wish Mr. Menzer could choose to join the rest of us out here. Thank you.
Mr. Ballard's next, followed by Michelle Hager.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Terry Ballard. I'm a 35-year veteran, retired in 2012 from the Army. Quick note, this is what happens when we have a shadow government that doesn't follow legal process. The process was to bring this to the board for a vote, okay? You stopped it in agenda meeting. This is not the legal process. You bring it forward to the board, and if it's incorrect in any way, it should have been legally binding already before you even bring it out here. But now you bring it out, now you cancel it in your agenda meeting, and all these people, you're wasting their time in coming here, and now we're just going to move forward with it down the road? That's unacceptable. Sorry. To all you veterans who are still serving, thanks for your service, and to all you veterans who are no longer serving, welcome home. We have 32,000 veterans in Thurston County. 11 of those 1,000 are VA disabled in 2019. We have 16 veteran service organizations, and we had an average use of the veteran fund in the last 2 months is 4 per month. Excuse me. I suggest approaching the American Legion, who knows best about veterans, and they take it over as their state department is down on Ruddle Road. Veteran organizations and service officers, local chapters and posts of veteran organizations and their volunteer veteran service officer are natural conduits. We have no conduit between them and our Veteran Advisory Board, okay? They should be processing the applications, they should be processing everything at the veteran organizations that they're serving, but they're not. There is a disconnect big time, and your board is illegal. Moving on. There are 16, out of 86,000, this is 2020. 86,000 went towards salary, wages, and personal benefits for one employee. You have that in front of you. 42,000 went to individuals, and 20 was to rent. 22,803 went to administrative overhead. This would mean that 109K went for salaries and administrative overhead, and 42K of 2020 went. Now we had a difference in opinion as far as an 888,000 carryover into 2021. Then we had a $18,000 transfer out, which you have a copy of that. And we had a carryover starting in 2021 of 942,000. Wow. Wow. Okay, now this year we've spent $88,000 on personal benefits. We've spent $90,000 on individuals, which $80,000 was for rent, and I thought we got an alibi on rent. And we had $26,000 admin. So we had 115,000 so far. We had 90,000. We had 115 so far, and we had only 90,000 going to individuals. This is ludicrous. And then we have stuff going to that atrium building. We had 457 proposed going to the out of the Veterans Fund, which isn't a general fund. We had another 1,017,000 going out of the mental health fund for the atrium building, and then we had 2,750,000 of our road levy, which is Thurston County unincorporated. It's not a general fund, but now we need more road fund out of that road fund. I'm sorry, you are all unincorporated. You all live in unincorporated, and they're robbing from us off of our road fund, okay? You guys need to stop this transfers of money. You need to stop it, okay? spend what it's supposed to be spent and stop spending our veterans' money, of course, but stop spending mental health and our road fund for a general fund that is illegal to do, okay? You need to quit. You need to quit. And this finance thing is out of control, especially for the Veterans Fund. You're actually approving, or you're approving.
Ballard, could I ask you to wrap up, please?
Okay, you're approving things for payouts into the social services department, which already exist. They exist in the veteran community. And right downtown, you have Department of Veterans Affairs. Who goes over there and asks? No one. Thank you.
Thank you
Michelle
for your
Hager's-
service.
Michelle Hager is next. Andrea Patton's on deck.
Hello, my name is Andrea Patton. Michelle Hager is with me. We'll just speak as one today. We're the owners and directors of Debbie's Dance, etc., located on Martin Way in Olympia. And I'll just keep my comments pretty brief. I came here today to say thank you to Commissioner Mejia for coming out yesterday and not just listening, but hearing. I think you really were hearing our concerns, our stories, our experiences of the various business owners and residents of that area. And as a dance studio owner, of course, my chief concern continues to be for my students, for my staff members, but there were a number of issues that were brought up yesterday, and it was a wonderful experience to be there to listen to one another and to hear everyone's concerns. So I thank you very much for that, and Commissioner Edwards, I thank you for your comments today with regards to the process. So thank you.
Sean Smith is next. William Powell's on deck.
Excuse me. Commissioners, thank you for letting me be here to address you. I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name is Sean Smith. Everyone calls me Smitty. I'm the former chair of the board that was mentioned recently, the Thurston County Veterans Advisory Board and Fund. I am a proud Army veteran, and today I'm here as a concerned citizen. I'm no longer that chair that I mentioned before. Now, since 2012, we've pretty much been attacked as a board and a program by certain individuals in the community. I didn't bring a packet or a clipboard or a binder with all the deficiencies of the people in the county that they have their deficiencies. What I do is try to build people up, because there's a lot of people that wake up every morning that are passionate about our veterans, like county workers, commissioners, City of Lacey, our board, our volunteers. And all we're trying to do is make things better for our veterans in this community. There are certain individuals that don't even know what we do to help our veterans. There have been stand downs in Olympia, and that covers the homeless population as well, because there are homeless veterans in our community. Now, that stand down helps them with haircuts, breakfast, lunch, gear for them to sleep on and sleep in while they're out there living their day-to-day. Claims are started and processed for them, and then there's a job fair afterwards. Those are the types of things. Waking up one day, going to a meeting, and not having accomplished anything, we came up with a goal, and that goal became the Lacey Veteran Services Hub. Fast forward, people from outside of the county are recognizing what's happening here in this county. And I like some of the things that some of you have said, that Thurston County is one of the better counties for addressing veteran issues. My mom passed away in August of a lifelong time of cancer, a lifelong battle. So right after that, we went to the memorial because we wanted to give my mom respect, and got COVID while doing it. And right in the middle of that, because somebody loves to flood Thurston County with records requests, I got a phone call asking me to provide my Disabled American Veterans card so that that would appease someone so that they could know that what I'm doing is the right thing. And by the way, I was the former chair. So I stopped what I was doing because I was asked to do something because I felt I had an obligation. So I'm not retired. I took leave to be here today. Left my family so I could come spend some time here today. But that's what I do all the time. I give everyone my time, I give everyone my money, and I give everyone all of me. And I will continue to do that. So with the time left, I just want to say thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you to those who have ever served on the Thurston County Veterans Advisory Board and Fund. Thank you to the commissioners, and for the City of Lacey and the WDVA and all the other organizations that stepped up to help us. Thank you.
Thanks for your service, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We've got William Powell, John Gillis on deck.
Don't see anybody in the room moving, sir.
William Powell, okay.
Oh, I believe he left. He was here earlier, but he left, yeah.
He's our chair of the Veterans
Yes.
Committee. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, then John Gillis, and then the next one that Mark, they want to testify is Terry Harper for on deck, but John Gillis is up.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to have a comment here. I'm a business owner. My name is John Gillis, and I have a business about a block away from the 720 proposed RV encampment. It's kind of a fast-track plan and information that we've been given as far as the security of that location is to be manned 24/7. I believe that this is a little bit of a naivety in that I don't believe you're going to be able to, just because there's a fence, that you're going to be able to contain everything within that area. I drove Ensign Road a couple days ago just to have a look-see, and they have provisions for garbage and outhouses and things like that, and I don't see it working well. So I believe what you have planned or proposed for that location will spill out into the neighborhood and the community. And I believe it's going to be detrimental to the health and safety of the people that live and work around that location. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Terry Harper with Stephen Williamson on deck.
It's pretty tense in here. Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for another opportunity to speak. Staff, thank you guys for all that you do. Myself, I'm a retired military Army veteran, retired almost 30 years ago. My son is retired, so that doesn't make me feel much younger either. But happy Veterans Day to all of you that have served. Thank you for your continued support. I've got a petition. Last week I presented 450 names and I thought, wow, we're really starting to get the voices out. Today I presented you with more. Now we're exceeding 1,100 on this petition. This is strictly grassroots. We just begun this. This is going to continue to move. Until just yesterday, many people in my community thought they had no voice in the matters decided in this chamber. Thanks to Commissioner Mejia's courage and compassion, they now feel that they matter. County Health and Human Services bureaucrats, city council activists, and reactionary counter leadership have assumed that they have the moral high ground in this complicated matter called homelessness. The assumption by most in my neighborhood is that their local government feels no obligation to inform and engage them in decisions that impact them. There have been plenty of explanations about how the vagrants are going to be protected, but not one mention of the protection of our children, our homes, and our businesses, unless you consider the sheriff's office response of, "We will investigate crimes." To date, this county, just the county, has spent upwards of $10 million on this homeless issue. What has been the reward? My neighborhood, as do many neighborhoods in our county, have significant populations of working poor. They're not demanding free things. They're just asking to be safe in their homes and heard when they have a question. Many of us believe that it is time for the county to divest itself from the time and treasure that continues to go into a failing cause. We feel it is time to stop the hemorrhaging of our resources toward this bottomless pit. It is time to stop, assemble a community advisory group to find out if this strategy needs to change course to a solution-based program rather than the current one that is based almost exclusively on management and relocation. None of you want this where your children play, yet you judge others for their opposition. Why do you continue to provide resources to people with no consequences? Our county has a significant population of veterans. Many of these veterans have seen firsthand what real homelessness looks like. From the ghettos of post-war Seoul to the San Miguelito district of Panama City and the garbage pile kids of Honduras, I have personally witnessed what happens when a government values the input of bureaucrats over the voice of the people. One of the most valuable advocacy groups and resources of information for marginalized people in our community is law enforcement. Why do they have such a limited voice? It takes real leadership to do the right thing, starting by enforcing ordinances and laws. Whether the use of the Zoom platform to screen what questions would be asked or to position allies to support a particular position was by design or by apathy toward the voters is not important. It is not a viable substitute for meeting the voters face-to-face and participating in real communication. Many English as a second language and minority citizens are left out of that platform. This process is not familiar to how they live their lives and only serves their exclusion in this process. We ask that this whole process of relocation be stopped until action is taken against lawlessness and a focus on solutions and consequences can be obtained. Yesterday, my community, we had our own community meeting. We had a courageous commissioner who came to our meeting and met with us. We still have not had a formal public hearing on the Carpenter Road site. We trust you, Commissioner Mejia, and we trust you, Commissioner Edwards, that the questions that you have about moving this process forward gets answered, gets solved, and that 720 Carpenter Road is off the table. And as soon as that happens, we expect to get a letter from the county telling us that specifically. There are a lot of people who go to bed with anxiety at night over this issue. We didn't cause it. We're not bringing it. But we do have a voice. We thank you again, Commissioner, for giving us that voice yesterday. Thank you.
Stephen Williamson, Newt Lehman's on deck.
Hello. Thank you, Commissioners, and thank you for hearing my comments today. First, I want to thank Carolina Mejia for coming to our neighborhood yesterday and speaking with us. It was very appreciated. Second, I'd like to say that I hope after the last couple of weeks and the outpouring of people who showed up both here, showed up yesterday, and showed up here again today, whether these concerns are coming from our neighbors or our next door or, pardon me, whether these concerns are coming from our neighbors or the next neighborhood that you do decide to put a parking lot in, I've made it clear that I oppose the removal of the unhoused people on Ensign Road to be placed at the safe parking lot on Carpenter Road. But I have been presented with a question, and the question is, what would I do differently? I put some thought and research into this, and the answer that I have found, it seems to be pretty standard across the board. It keeps coming back as housing first. This doesn't seem to be a terrible plan, but I do think it needs some work. And this is where I feel that we should be seeking the help of another community that's had some positive results and involved everyone that is affected. Many of the documents that I have read focused on one metric and one metric only, and that is simply placing a human inside of a home, nothing else. I agree that we should be building accommodations of some degree, but I also think that they should the people that are going into these accommodations should have some accountability or should earn their way into there somehow. The city of Marysville, Washington has taken what I believe to be one of the best approaches that I have come across. It's called the Embedded Social Workers Program. I've emailed everybody some of this information. The City Council of both Olympia, Lacey, and the head of the department in Marysville. I have attempted to connect everyone that I just listed in a collaborative work session to gain a better understanding of this program and for it to be as unbiased from me as possible and coming from them. The concept is simple. A social worker is paired with a police officer. They do outreach to the community. They forge relationships. With the unhoused, they offer the option of treatment based on the individual's needs. At this point, they give the unhoused person an option. Are they willing to take this hand, or the other option is to go to jail? This may seem harsh, but people do have a choice in life, and breaking the law is not one of them unless they do want to spend time in jail. This program goes on to offer detox, treatment, job retraining, housing, and continued therapy on some level, whether that be mental or addiction. From my perspective, I'm unable to see a better option than what Marysville is offering. It both extends a hand to someone in need and shows accountability at the same time. This accountability demonstrates itself to the unhoused person, to the community in which they are placed. It also shows to the police department, the sheriff's department, who have to battle this daily. In closing, I just wanted to say thank you again for hearing, and thank you for hearing us as a community. And I wanted to offer some kind of a positive solution instead of just another upset citizen. Thank you.
Knut Lehman is next, followed by Patrick Jarrett.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Knut Lehman. I'm the president of Thurston County Deputy Sheriff Association. I'm also a county resident. Just wanted to take a second and come back. Obviously, last week's comments were very harsh in a sense, but I think needed to be communicated that way. What I did not anticipate seeing as a result was making some personnel feel like their contributions to this issue are not heard or valued. And in respect to that, I'm going to butcher some names here. Keeley, I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Shelley Slaughter and Tom, who are all employed in part by the county. I'm sure I've worked a great and immense amount of effort put into trying to figure out a plan to help partake in the solution for the county in the Ensign Road project, and to have so many people come back and tell them that their plan doesn't work or it's not right, I'm sure it's probably disheartening. They've formed relationships with these people, they know these people, and no one's trying to, at least from my association, discount that interaction that they've had and the work that they've done with those individuals. With that being said, the sheriff's office, let me clarify, it's not the sheriff's office. The Deputy Sheriff Association issue is what happens outside of that site at this point, really. How do we prevent another Ensign Road issue happening on Carpenter? I don't think the county commissioners are going to tell me that they're not going to allow the sheriff's office deputies to enforce RCWs and whatnot in regards to parking county right-of-way. However, I don't think you guys also realize that after a vehicle has been or expired tabs for 45 days or a myriad of other issues, I have the legal authority to tow that car. And I don't think the county is going to be supportive of deputies going out there and enforcing RCWs where we're removing people from their homes and placing it in an impound lot. So how do we prevent the Carpenter Road location from looking like the Ensign Road location outside of the fenced area that you guys are managing with OLIMAP? The other issue is it puts deputies in a really hard spot when only MAP wants us to remove somebody from that camp. And I know on the informational meeting, they said that they would lean on their regional partners and the sheriff's office to do that. But our hands are specifically tied to probable cause when it comes to removing somebody from a facility like that. With the new legislative updates, even if we take someone to jail, we can't take their motorhome off that property. They are a resident there, and you have to civilly evict them. And I mean, granted, the moratorium is lifted, but if it goes back into place, we're now creating an issue where I think the county is going to be biting off a little more than they can chew with 6 to 7 month timeline if something like that happens again. We appreciate you, Commissioner Meyer, for going out and talking to the residents and the business owners of that area. I listened to your comments on the informational meeting, and we, as the sheriff deputies, appreciate the county commissioners funding those 3 positions or whatnot over the next couple of years to get us back to at least the authorized FTE status that we have, and maybe I think 1 additional, if I'm not mistaken. However, when you said that comment, it's not like you authorize 3 deputies and we pull 3 deputies out of a hat and put them in a car and are able to use them. That process takes time to recruit, to hire, to train, and essentially will be beyond 6 to 7 months by the time that deputy is even able to function and be a valuable asset to the county. So it doesn't really help us in this interim. Secondly, you guys had a discussion this morning about our support staff and the budget analysis and reclassification study and all that stuff that was done. That is way beyond my realm of understanding, and my vice president for support could probably articulate that a little bit more, but we are disheartened that our staff will not be compensated for the jobs that they do. Support staff is a vital and essential element of our sheriff's office, which you guys know, and they do a ton of work. Patrol, we consider ourselves the backbone of law enforcement work. The personnel that work behind the scenes of us are even more of a bigger part of that. So we would ask that you try to find any way that you can to fund that that pay increase for them over the next couple of years, because they deserve it. So appreciate it.
Patrick Jarrett's next, and then we'll call for any additional commenters in the boardroom.
I don't see anybody getting up, sir.
Is there anybody else who hasn't had a chance to provide testimony in the boardroom before we go to the Zoom? Nope. Okay. Melanie Bowdish, did you wish to testify this afternoon? Nope. I'll try Jennifer Milchenko. Okay. Angela Mackey?
No, thank you.
Okay. Carmen Hebert?
Yes, sir. I would like to ask a question or speak, I guess.
You have 4 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing us another opportunity to address the Carpenter Road encampment issue. I would just like to say thank you very much to Commissioner Mejia for coming out, and also thank you very much to Commissioner Edwards for giving voice to so many of our concerns in the community. I suppose the only thing that I would like to say is that I feel like it is extremely disingenuous that that we do still even have potential behind the scenes work taking place moving towards this Carpenter Road encampment, especially because I know that a lot of the permitting issues are the ones that are disturbing to Commissioner Mejia and cause her to want to pump the brakes a bit, but my fear is that ultimately the voice of the people is still not going to be what is heard here, and I guess that's just my only concern. My only question would just be if you all do choose to move forward, if you all do choose to approve this whole process, what happens with the RVs along the road? I mean, as I'm sure Commissioner Mejia saw when she was visiting the site yesterday, That road is already very narrow. That road already is very heavily traveled and heavily trafficked. And I just fear for our community in general in introducing this element. And I hope that there's some thought given to what can take place in the surrounding area, not just this one little contained spot in which you would house these RVs, but the area around it, to which everybody else will gravitate anyway, because that is what has been shown that they will do. So beyond the permitting process issues, I really would just like to ask that Commissioner Mejia, in particular, I guess I'm appealing to you because I feel like you're our only hope left at this point. I would hope that Commissioner Mejia would also think about some of the concerns, because it's not all just emotional concerns. These are practical concerns for us from a business standpoint. They are concerns from a safety standpoint for our patrons, for our people, for our employees. These are not just, gosh, I really don't want any homeless people in my backyard. It's not about that. It's about the location. It is about the area that will be affected, and the fact that it is such a tiny spot in which we are talking about putting people, but there will be a larger group gravitating to that area. It's just that it's what history has shown to be the case. And I appreciate, again, having the opportunity to voice our opinions and to voice our concerns. And thank you for your time today. And I guess that's all that I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that wraps up the public comment for today. We will have now County Manager's update, item 2.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no update today.
Item 3 is the consent agenda. There are items A through G. Is there a motion regarding the consent items?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve consent items A through G.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Non-debatable motion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye, that motion carries. Items 3A through 3G are approved. Item 4A is Central Services Resolution and call for sealed bids for a long-term involuntary bed expansion.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Robin Campbell, Assistant County Manager, and I am speaking on behalf of Central Services at this time regarding the project at what is known as the triage building, but is used as an involuntary treatment center by our behavioral health organization. We are currently in the process of expanding that building from 10-bed involuntary treatment center to a 16-bed involuntary treatment center. We're using funds from a grant from the State of Washington Department of Commerce, and those go through our partner organization, the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization, also known as the TMBHASO. We have completed design on this project and are ready to go out to bid for the construction work. And we have worked with our partner organizations, not only the BHASO, but also with the courts and other stakeholders involved. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Mejia?
No questions in regards to this.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir.
I'm ready for a motion.
I would move to approve the resolution and call for sealed bids for the long-term bed expansion project, number 25578.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 5A is Community Planning and Economic Development, setting a public hearing for comprehensive plan docket item CP4, Capital Improvement Program. Maya Teeple, Senior Planner, present to introduce this item.
Thank you, Commissioners. Maya Teeple, Senior Planner with Community Planning. This item on your agenda today is a request that you set a public hearing on the 2022-2027 Capital Improvement Program for December 6th. The 2022-2027 Capital Improvement Program is Appendix G of the Thurston County Comprehensive Plan, and it is a 6-year financial plan for capital projects needed to maintain important infrastructure and levels of service as the community grows. The CIP is updated annually and fulfills a capital facilities planning requirement as required by the Growth Management Act. Funding sources, project costs, project descriptions are all included in the CIP, and CIP projects include transportation facilities, sewer and water infrastructure, solid waste, stormwater facilities, parks and trails, and county buildings. Planned capital facility projects from schools, fire districts, and other special purpose districts are also reported in the CIP. It's not a budget, but it is aligned with the budget, and it is a plan for future action over the next 6 years, and project costs and funding sources are aligned with the county budget. The board was previously briefed on this item on July 21st and also on November 4th, 2021. And the Planning Commission held a work session on September 15th and a public hearing on November 3rd. Following that public hearing, the Planning Commission produced a unanimous recommendation of approval, 5-0 with 4 absent, of the Capital Improvement Program. Prior to this public hearing, Community Planning will issue a legal notice in the Olympian and will advertise the public hearing through webmail and press release. And that concludes my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Maya?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Then ready for a motion on this.
I would move to set a public hearing for December 6th, 2021 at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard on the annual update to the Thurston County Capital Improvement Program, Appendix G of the Thurston County Comprehensive Plan.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mentor.
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you, Maya. Next item is a coroner's office item regarding single source purchase from Stryker. I don't know, Assistant County Manager, who's presenting this item?
We had thought that a representative from the coroner's office would be here, but not seeing one, I can present this item. The board approved the purchase of a power gurney system for the coroner's vehicles, and this system would strongly contribute to the safety of coroner employees, as well as enhance the service that they're able to provide. We currently own one of these gurneys, and we want to purchase one that is interchangeable with our vehicles. So there is only one provider of these gurneys. So we are asking the board to approve the sole source purchase of the gurneys. And this has been reviewed by our internal auditor, and he has deemed it appropriate as a sole source purchase. So we are asking your approval to move forward without going out to bid on this item.
Okay, does the board have any questions about it that Robin might be able to answer?
I don't have any questions, but I might mention that EMS uses the same system, and then everything will match, and we've had a lot of discussion on this, so thank you.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the sole source purchase of a Stryker Power Load and Power Pro XT gurney system for approximately $78,668.47 to reduce employee lifting injuries.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye. Motion carries. 6A is approved unanimously. 7A is Public Works Item Resolution to update water and sewer construction and materials standards. Torrin Valdez, Water Resources Utility Planner, is here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Staff is recommending the Board of County Commissioners pass a resolution updating the Thurston County Water and Sewer System Construction and Material Standards. Chapters 1509 and 1510 of Thurston County Code provide that the Director of Public Works shall adopt standard specifications for sewer and water service construction and material standards, subject to approval of the Board of County Commissioners. The last revision of the water and sewer system construction and material standards occurred in 2007. The county contracted HDR Engineering Incorporated, which we'll refer to as HDR, to review and propose updates to the water and sewer system construction material standards. The proposed updates reflect recommendations by HDR and input from Public Works, Water Resources Technical Services Group, and Water and Sewer Operations. Public outreach to customers and future customers consisted of utility bill inserts, notification to Olympia Master Builders, a web page with a document containing the proposed development standard updates, and an online comment form. The comment period was open from July 1st of 2021 to July 30th of 2021. Thurston County received 2 internal comments pertaining to the proposed updates, resulting in corrections of minor errors. At a briefing held on September 1st of 2021, the Board of County Commissioners authorized Public Works staff to submit an agenda item summary to set a public hearing for the proposed updates to the Thurston County Water and Sewer System Construction Material Standards. A public hearing to consider comments from the public was held on November 2nd of 2021, in which no comments were received. This action is in alignment with the county's strategic plan initiative number 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. And again, we're asking that the board move to approve the resolution to update the Thurston County Water and Sewer System Construction and Material Standards.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Torrin?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the resolution to update the Thurston County Water and Sewer Systems Construction and Materials Standards.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye. Motion carries. Next is 7B, ordinance to update water and sewer utility codes. Torrin Valdez again. Why don't you give us an overview of this one, Torrin? Thank you.
Certainly. Staff is recommending the Board of County Commissioners adopt an ordinance updating Thurston County Water and Sewer Utility Codes. The county contracted with HDR Engineering Incorporated, which we'll refer to as HDR, to review and propose changes to Thurston County Code Chapters 1509 through 1513, which relate to water and sewer systems. Recommended code revisions include removal of rates from code and proposed establishment of a rate resolution, revision of latecomer agreement section to be in compliance with current RCW, other non-financial organizational administrative changes, including combining sections of 1511 into 1510 and sections of 1513 into Chapter 1512. Addition of clauses which would allow the county to implement restrictions on outdoor and non-domestic use of water, enter into pre-treatment agreements, implement a grace period prior to applying interest and penalties on customer billings, and develop a low-income senior citizen program providing relief from interest and penalties, and use of industry data to determine general facility connection charges. The proposed code revisions reflect changes recommended by HDR and input from Public Works, Engineering, Water Resources, and Financial and Asset Management Divisions. The Prosecuting Attorney's Office and the Boston Harbor Utility Advisory Committee also provided input. Public outreach consisted of utility bill inserts, a web page with a document summarizing proposed updates, draft ordinance updating the utility code, and an online comment form. The comment period was open from June 1st of 2021 to June 30th of 2021. Thurston County received 4 comments pertaining to the proposed updates, resulting in 1 change to the proposed code updates. At a briefing held on September 1st of 2021, the Board of County Commissioners authorized Public Works staff to submit an agenda item summary to set public hearing for the updates to the Thurston County Water and Sewer Utility Code. A public hearing to consider comments from the public was held on November 2nd of 2021. This action is in alignment with the county's strategic initiative number 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. And again, Public Works staff request a move to approve ordinances to update the Thurston County Water and Sewer Utility Code, chapters 1509, 1510, and 1512, and repealing chapters 1511 and 1513 regarding sewer systems, water systems, and rates, charges, and fees.
Questions for Torrin on this item?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the ordinance to update the Thurston County Water and Sewer Utility Code, chapters 15.09, 15.10, and 15.12, and repealing chapters 15.11 and 15.13 regarding sewer systems, water systems, and rates, charges, and fees.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item 8A is a proposal to set public hearings on the 2022-23 budget.
Thank you, Commissioners. Again, Robin Campbell, Assistant County Manager, in this motion acting as your Budget Director. I am requesting this afternoon that you set a public hearing on your 2022 through 2023 biennial budget. State law requires that you hold a public hearing on this budget and that the public hearing begins on the first Monday of December, which this year is December 6th. State law also allows for the hearings to continue for up to 5 consecutive days, and has been the habit of the board for a few years. We set these hearings over the course of 2 days with time set for specific sectors of county government. So this year I'm asking that you set the public hearings for December 6th at 1:30, 4 o'clock, 6 p.m., 6:15 p.m., and on Tuesday, December 7th at 1:30, 2:30, 4 p.m., and 6 p.m., or soon thereafter is possible for the board here in room 280 in building 1 to accept public comment on the preliminary budget. The budget will be published on November 22nd. On that date, there will be copies available online. And should any citizen ask for a hard copy, we will produce one for them. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the budget or the hearings.
Questions for Robin? Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion regarding 8A?
Yes, sir. I would move to set a public hearing for December 6th, 2021 at 1:30 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., and 6:15 p.m. And on December 7th, 2021 at 1:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m., 4 o'clock p.m., and 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to accept public comment on the preliminary 2022-2023 budget.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye, motion carries. Item 8B is to set a public hearing on revenue sources for the 2022-23 budget.
Yes, this item is, as you stated, to set a public hearing on revenue sources. State law requires that the Board of County Commissioners adopt and certify the property tax levy to the assessor no later than December 15th, and that prior to certifying the property tax levy, that the board holds a public hearing on all revenue sources that will support the county budget, including specifically information on the property tax. We are proposing that you hold this public hearing as part of your budget hearing, so the entire budget can be heard in context, and then would take action on the levy at a later date. But this would be the public hearing on all revenue sources as required by law.
Questions on this item?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion?
I would move to set a public hearing for December 7th, 2021 at 4 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, regarding revenue sources for the 2022-2023 budget.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, time for commissioners to report on work sessions, assigned committee meetings, and providing updates on actions. Commissioner Mejia.
I've just been talking with citizens in regards to the Carpenter site. As Money stated yesterday, I went to the 720 Carpenter location and met with many citizens, both who live around the area as well as who would be business owners who would be impacted by the move. And I spoke with them. After that, I handled many calls in regards to the matter as well. And then last Thursday, we did the informational session for this. And as our PIO reported, it was very well attended and it's still being viewed online. Other than that, I've just been meeting with department directors, and that's kind of taken up since we met on Thursday. That's been my main priority.
Commissioner Edwards.
My week really consisted of this whole Martin Way thing, the COVID issue, and a fundraiser for the college out at St. Martin's, and fundraiser for the drug court here in Thurston County, and the new employees welcoming. And I even got to sit on a dangerous dog trial. So we get to cover a lot of diverse activity here at the county. So that's it for me, sir.
Thanks, sir. I'm going to waive my report. We've got a public hearing that's overdue starting at, supposed to start at 3. We'll start at 3:45 regarding Commissioner District Boundary Line Adjustments. We're adjourned.